In this video, I'm going to show you guys some of the tools of the trade that I use. Keep in mind that this is something that's a little bit different for everybody. Some people really like to use additional tools in their sessions and other people don't. There is not a right or wrong answer there. It's simply what your preference is and how you work, and just doing what is best and good for you and your clients is enough. But I wanted to show you just some examples of some other things that you can bring into your sessions to help you in any way. So let's get started. We're going to start with my drum here. This is a drum that I made in 2018, I believe, and it's made with deer hide and maple wood, and I have burned some intentions and affirmations inside there just to add to the magic of this piece. I use this drum when someone is having a really hard time grounding, like at the end of a session, if they're having a hard time coming back to their body, just drumming their body like this is a very grounding experience. It can also be used to cleanse and clear stuck or stagnant energies from the body. And I will also use it when someone's like really working through a deep emotional process. Just having the drum as kind of a grounding vibrational experience can be really helpful for them. So this is my drum, and then I really love to use essential oils in my sessions. So this is some essential oil spray that I make. This particular one is called Refresh, and I use this usually at the beginning of a session to just clear off anything that the client may have brought in with them when they came in. It's a great way to cleanse and refresh their energy and get them started on the right foot for the session. So I use this aura misting spray, and then I have a whole bunch of essential oils that are all used for different purposes. Each one has their own little benefits that I like to use them for. A really helpful book, if you're interested in essential oils, I really like this book. It's called Emotions and Essential Oils. This one goes through each essential oil and tells you what it's good for and how to use it. Really, really helpful, easy to understand guide if you are wanting to do more essential oil stuff in your practices. But I like to use these to help guide the energy. So if I can tell that they're like feeling really heavy, I'll use like bergamot or wild orange or something like that that's really happy and uplifting. Or if they're having a hard time staying in body or a hard time grounding, I'll use more of an earth scent like cassia or cedar wood, patchouli, things like that, just to help balance the energy. These can be really great for after an emotional release. I can just put a little bit on their hands and they can smell their hands, and that helps to bring them back into the present moment and get reconnected with their body again. So essential oils are super helpful. I really love using them. I've used essential oils in my Reiki sessions really like since day one. So for 8 years now, I've been incorporating essential oils into my practice. I also put them in diffusers and things like that. It makes it smell nice and have a nice vibe. I also use crystals a lot in my work, especially selenite. Selenite is my favorite stone to use in my sessions because it's very high vibrational, and it's also very, very, very cleansing, and it doesn't need to be cleansed itself. It's self-cleansing. So if the client is releasing a lot, or I've pulled some energy out of their body, I will send it to one of my selenite stones. I have many around my space here. And I will send that energy into the stone to be cleansed, cleared, and released from the space. So I use selenite a whole heck ton. And these are my palm stones. This is the collection that I have been building over the years. These ones are specifically for client use, and I will put these on the chakras on the body. I will have the clients hold them in their hands. Oftentimes I will have them choose a stone pre-session, just like which one do you want to take with you as a support. Each of these have their own individual properties as well, and these have been very, very helpful over the years. I really like using stones and crystals. Another tool that I use is a feather. And I learned a feather cleansing technique from an indigenous woman, and it's very, very simple. You just brush the feather on the body. But if you're like at the end of a session and you're feeling like there's still some stuck energy, or just some things a client's having a hard time letting go of, I will use this feather and brush over the body just to help release it. And it's very, very gentle and light, but it's something that the client can feel physically on their body. And so it brings more of that release forward and like, oh, okay, it's being brushed off. It's going, it's letting go. So a feather is one of the tools that I use. I also use pendulums in my work. I use these in a very specific way. Do I have the book? I don't have the book here, but there is a book by Barbara Walters, I think. I don't know. I'll need to look that up. It's called Hands of Light. And in that book, she talks about how the energy is moving around a chakra and how that can be reflected by a pendulum. So I hold the pendulum over the chakra just to double check how the energy is moving there and how it's flowing. It gives me a really easy to recognize like path of movement here so that I can know what's going on with the chakra. And what's really fun is if a client is if they're curious about what's going on with their chakras, I can show them. So I can say like, okay, I'll have them open their eyes for a moment, and let's say I'm holding this over their heart space and it's swinging back and forth like this, which represents a block. I can show that to the client and say, okay, here you have a block. We know that by how the pendulum is moving over the chakra. And then we do some work for a while, and then I hold the pendulum over that space again, and then we get a nice big open swing, a nice open circle. And it is a wonderful way for them to actually see the energy moving in their bodies and to see like, oh snap, something is happening. So pendulum is another tool that I use, and I've been using pendulums for a long time. I use them for that specific practice. For me, that is the only way I use a pendulum, just to check how the energy of a chakra is moving. I don't need a pendulum to be able to do that. It's kind of just like a shortcut. And like I said, it's also a great way for the client to visually see that energy movement that's happening in their body. So yay, pendulums. Mine is wood. For some reason, I like only do wooden pendulums. I think most pendulums these days are made of stone, which is awesome, but I like the wood ones. So that is mine. I also use different herbs and things to smudge with. Right now I'm a little out of stock. I've got some sweetgrass, I have Palo Santo, I have some mullein here, little nubby mullein, and I also have some yerba santa here. I use each of these for different purposes. The sweetgrass I use at the beginning of a session to call in ancestors. If we know that there's going to be some generational healing happening, I like to use the sweetgrass to call in the ancestors for their support and guidance for that session. This is also a great way to prepare the space for ritual. So sometimes I will burn this before the client gets here. And then Palo Santo is just one of my all-time favorites. It is such a great, obviously it smells good, it smells so good. And it also helps to very gently cleanse the energy of the space and simultaneously bring in really good high vibrational energy. So this is the one that I use most often. And then I use yerba santa, this one here. I use yerba santa when we're working through a lot of feminine issues, or if there's a lot of like matriarchal things going on, healing the mother wound. This herb is like a divine feminine or sacred feminine herb. So I use it when we're dealing with things like that. I use this when I'm working with pregnant mamas, or just anyone who's healing issues with mother wound things. And then my little nubbin of mullein here, this is for when stuff gets gnarly and there's really, really heavy energies whether it's from another entity or spirit, or perhaps even just a heavy trauma that the client is carrying. I will burn mullein to clear out those big ones. Another herb that I use really frequently, and I'm out right now, is cedar. I really love to use cedar. It helps to cleanse and refresh the energy. I need more of that. So have those. Another tool that I use are affirmation cards. I especially love these ones. These are both by Louise Hay. They're How to Love Yourself and Power Thought cards. These will often, it's so fun. Like we'll have this session and then we'll be like, you know what, I think there's a couple cards for you. And we draw a couple cards and the cards say exactly what we were talking about in the session. Like you can't make this stuff up sometimes. Or the client will come in with a very specific intention and I just say, okay, would you mind if we drew a card on that? And we draw a card and it's of course like the message they need to hear every time. So it can be just an additional witness. Oh, this is another great deck. It's called the Wild Offering Oracle. Love this one. Can be just a great additional way for them to receive a message or to have some kind of connection that they need with themselves. I really love using cards. I don't do many card readings in my sessions. I'm just not a card reader, but the affirmation cards have been something that have been really helpful over the years. So I continue to use those. And then my last tools that I have here are my singing bowls. I just have two. I have this tiny brass one. This is a heart. I just love that. This is a heart bowl for the heart chakra. And then this is a sacral chakra bowl. Just feels so good. I use this bowl with just about every session that I do. I use this bowl over the body. I will start it and then play it over the client's body to cleanse and clear their energy right before the session is complete. Sometimes I will use this in the beginning of the session as well, just to help them settle in and like create that nice, peaceful, relaxing atmosphere. So these are the tools that I use. This is how I use them. This is why I use them. Experiment with what calls to you. Like there's a whole wide world out there of tools that you can use and experiment with. And I just invite you to continue to notice what feels good for you and keep saying yes to that. So thank you guys so much. Oh, and I just want to say again, none of these are completely necessary. You have everything that you need within you. You have everything that you need just with your Reiki. You don't need or have to have any of this. This can be an additional help for you in your sessions. So let me know what questions you guys have. As always, I'm open to hearing them. I love hearing your questions. And if you have a tool that you use that I don't have here, please let me know about it and tell me how you use it and why you love it. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you again soon.